Avatar scenes without special effects. Avatar, directed by James Cameron, is one of the most aesthetically spectacular films ever filmed. But how does it appear without all the CGI? Hello and welcome back to Off-Cam Celebs. For today's video, we will be going to talk about Avatar scenes without special effects. Let's get started. Number 1. Drinking water from a leaf. Teary lives a pretty unique lifestyle as one of the Navi on the planet of Pandora. One of the things that we see Teary partake in is drinking water from a leaf. But because director James Cameron loves to rely on technological innovations, the way that the scene was actually filmed without CGI may surprise you. Zoe Saldana was required to work with a gray plastic contraption to model as the leaf, while holding a water bottle covered in duct tape. To stimulate the water coming from the tape, we guess that's why they call it movie magic. Jake and Neytiri kiss. You may or may not have an awkward kiss in your life, but it probably wasn't as awkward as it was for Sam Worthington and Zoe Saldana when they had to kiss as Jake and Neytiri while filming Avatar. While in the movie itself, with all the added CGI, the scene plays out romantically. Without all the CGI, Worthington and Saldana had to kiss with their motion captured jumpsuits and with green dots all over their face. So the motion capture of their characters' CGI bodies would be accurate and more real. Banshees. One of the most exciting action scenes in all of Avatar was definitely the flying Banshee. Obviously, a lot of CGIs needed to be done to bring the Banshee to life, as there's no living, real-world counterpart for the creature. In order to capture Jake flying on the Banshee, Sam Worthington was required to fly on the back of a movie plastic structure, where he'd be flung around with wires, all while wearing the motion capture suit. Honestly, we think we'd just prefer the ride at Disney World that seems a bit more comfortable. Number 4. Neytiri yelling. It's always intense whenever anybody in a movie yell, but when a blue-skinned alien like Neytiri yells, it's even more powerful. Despite the goofy motion capture getup and the silly plastic Navi's ears, Sardana was still able to be quite intimidating on set. Layers of additional CGI were added in order to make Neytiri and the rest of the Navi look even more real in the film. You definitely wouldn't want to take Neytiri off. The Colonel's Mech. The big villain of Avatar was Stephen Lang's Colonel Miles, Norwich, who, unlike a lot of other characters who required CGI, is actually a human. One might assume that the Colonel's mech suit design was all CGI, but they would be wrong. The main core design of the suit was a practical effect, but it was the arm and the digital screens that were later added with additional CGI work, in order to make the suit a more formidable force to the Navi. The final product proved to be quite the treat to the Navi and made Lang's Colonel an even more memorable villain. With rumors that he'll be back for the sequel, he may even bring that neck suit back. Number 6. Thanator Attack. One of the first dangerous creatures that Jake encounters in the jungles of Pandora is the fierce Thanator. While the Thanator is quite intimidating on screen, the creature wasn't much to look at before the CGI was added. In fact, before the CGI was added, standing in for the Thanator was a red tennis ball on a long gray stick, held by a crew member. In order for the actors to go on cue, the crew member holding the Thanatos stand-in would launch at them. Life of Pandora would likely be much easier if all the Navi had to worry about was a tennis ball on a stick. Sigourney Weaver. Cameron has a knack for working with actors and actresses he's worked before. So, of course, one of the actresses he brought with him to Avatar was his alien star, Sigourney Weaver. Weaver plays Grace in the film and doesn't just play the character in human form, but also as Navi. While even in her Navi form, Grace typically wears humans' clothes. Behind the scenes, Weaver had to still wear a motion capture suit to convincingly play Grace's Navi avatar. From Alien to Ghostbusters, Sigourney Weaver has clearly made her mark in the sci-fi genre. Mock-up horses. It wasn't just the human actors who were behind motion capture technology on set of Avatar, as actual horses were used under motion capture technology for the dire horses. The horses were equipped with dots on their body, much like their human co-stars, in order for them to be transformed later with visual effects. The horses were brought to the soundstage of the film, and Cameron would film the actors behind the Navi riding the horses with a special technology that would allow him to be their CGI counterparts as they were filming. Who knows, maybe those horses went on to take other motion capture roles as well. Climbing the floating rocks. Despite all the extensive CGI and motion capture present throughout Avatar, that didn't mean the actors had to perform fewer stunts. In fact, it was quite the opposite. Whenever we saw the Navi climbing up the vines of the ominous floating rocks on Pandora, Cameron had the actors behind the Navi climb a similar structure, all in their motion capture gear. The final CGI was added later, but still that didn't make the climb not dangerous, though you can't really become one of the Navi without at least getting a little bit rugged with yourself and your environment. Jake waking up. Motion capture wasn't always available when capturing scenes with the Navi, especially when they share the screen with the human characters. When recording the scene where Jake first wakes up in his Navi form, Cameron filmed the actors playing the human doctors, working around an empty gurney. Behind the lens of Cameron's camera, he was able to see the CGI character. Avatar Live. Before the motion capture work was done for Avatar, Sam Worthington and Zoe Saldana filmed without their suits, half naked in Hawaii. These would be done in order so James Cameron would know how to plan all their scenes that would need motion captures, such as bow and arrow scenes. Tree of Voices. The Tree of Voices is perhaps one of the most gorgeous looking set pieces in all of Avatar. But behind the scenes and without the CGI, that sacred tree wasn't much to look at. In fact, the trees were mainly just pieces of rope that were used to stimulate the long leaves and branches of the trees that teary would present to Jake. The final CGI would be added into the production later. Navi Tribal Dance. The Navi clearly have a different culture than what we're used to, and Cameron wanted to display some of the tribal customs of the main tribe in the film. The group of 4 actors may not have had the biggest roles in the film, but that didn't mean their work wasn't difficult. These actors ultimately had to memorize a tribal dance of the Navis in all their motion capture suits. Now, that's true commitment to their craft. Dragon Assault ship flight. There were times on set when James Cameron and his crew had more accurate models of the Dragon Assault ships. There were times when the models wouldn't be enough. In order to film the scene, Cameron had the motion capture board use a metal-like chair in the middle of the set that would be moved around by crew members. A fan was also placed in front of the actors in order to properly capture the wind blowing in their characters' faces. While the real set may not have been as exciting as actually flying on a ship as a Navi on Pandora, the cast and crew certainly made the most of it. Navi versus Colonel 3D fight. The 3D, much like the CGI, had to be recorded in a distinct way using two cameras. In the scene where the colonel is attacked on his mech by one of the Navi, used two cameras to perfect the 3D and the CGI. One camera would be used for the live action elements, and the other would be used for the CG 3D effects. So, what are your thoughts about this topic? Do you think this video is useful? Please let me know by leaving a comment down below. And if you enjoy this video, please press the like button, turn on the notification bell, and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. Thank you for stopping by to watch. See you on our next video.